You just still see them?
They're moving, see?
No. Oh, the picture.
Okay. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you? Welcome. This is Alone Together Pittsburgh, streaming at you live since about 30 weeks ago. I think this is week 30, episode 90. What episode is this, Dave?
25.
This is episode 90-something.
97, maybe 97, 98.
Episode,
I don't know.
we're in the upper 90s. I believe this is episode 96, maybe.
We're that place where you just got to stop counting because it gets kind of gross, creepy.
So we're still here. The voice you hear, that's Dave Mansueto. He's my wingman. He's the one pulling all the strings and pushing all the buttons behind the scenes. Anyway, thank you for joining us. I'm Patrick Jordan, and we are happy that you're welcoming us into your mobile devices and your phones and your laptops, computers, and anything else. We are here. This is it. We started the show back in March as a way to keep a sense of community going, and we continue to strive on that mission. We have a loaded show for you. This whole week is loaded, but tonight is especially loaded. We've got State Representative Sara Innamorato is going to be here tonight. We've got Phill Cresswell from the NHL is going to be here, and Erin Hart's going to be here talking Farm2Table, and she might even be talking about some mushrooms. But before we get to our fantastic guests tonight, we have a little bit of housekeeping that we do in show. First things first, ticking below me on the screen right here is our Venmo. If you have the means, kick in a couple of bucks, that'd be great. It is at TogetherPGH on Venmo. You can get our PayPal link as well on our website, which is togetherpgh.com. So if you can do that, all the money that you can kick in goes directly to the artists involved in the show on any given night. So we would appreciate that. We know there's donor fatigue going on right now. 'Tis the season, but we got to ask. Otherwise, it's, malpractice. We also have a couple of things going on here, including the Engine House 25 Winery Jagoff poll. That's right. If it's your first time watching, we have a Pittsburgh-centric Jagoff poll. It is a term of endearment. It is not a negative thing. We have been going at this since March when March Madness got canceled. We are finally working our way down. We are wrapping up the Sweet 16, and the names are huge on these polls. They are iconic. They are everything from people to places to things to words. Dave, should I tell them about Engine House 25 Winery, or should we just get to the answer here? Who won?
Dealer's choice, and I'm the dealer. All right, the overnight poll was Nebby versus Parking Chair. Nebby versus Parking Chair. This was a big one. We are at the top. We are at the nosebleed seats. We're getting near the apex where things are getting exciting. The best of the best. The Jags, the number one Jags, are fighting off Nebby versus Nebby versus Parking Chair. Let's figure out what the final results are. I'm bringing up here now, and your results are, boom, Parking Chair 67% to 33% on Nebby. So there you are. You spoke, Pittsburgh. You said what you wanted. You eat your dessert. You named your destroyer. That's it. In the overnight Jagoff.
Wow. That's a big one. Okay, the overnight, that's big. Okay, the Parking Chair now moves on to the Elite 8. Okay, we are working it down. We are almost completed into the Elite 8. So I'm telling you, the names keep getting bigger. They're more iconic. I feel bad. Nebby goes down. I know Rick Seaback will probably be sad about that because his most recent documentary, Nebby, Rick Seaback's like spinning records right now, so I can talk about him, and he's not gonna know it. But anyway, to let you guys know a little bit about the sponsor of the Jagoff poll, Engine House 25 Winery. If you go to eh25.com, you can see the whole selection of wines they have right now. It is a fantastic selection. They've got a ton of reds. They've got a Chardonnay and a Sauvignon Blanc that's killer, and a Rosé. They're doing curbside right now. They're also doing some free delivery in the area, and if you tell them that you found out about them on Alone Together Pittsburgh, you get $5 off per bottle of wine. So that goes a long way. You buy a case of wine, you're saving 50 or 60 bucks. So get in there, go to eh25.com. They're right there where Lawrenceville meets the Strip District, right in Doughboy Square. Engine House 25 Winery. It also houses the Roberto Clemente Museum. So thank you to eh25.com because they're also sponsoring a thing we call the Little Jagoff, right? The Little Jagoff is our in-show poll that only you, the viewing audience, get to vote on. The people who are listening to the podcast-only version of this tomorrow don't get to do it. People on the West Coast who have other things going on right now, they want to listen to it later, they don't get to vote. Only you in the live slot, and it's a big one tonight. Dave, tell them what it is.
And it's already happening. This one is near and dear to my heart. Two of the coolest bridges in Pittsburgh town. We've got, let me get that EH25 out of the way. That's getting in the way. Dwayne, your wine is fantastic. We're just going to move it. There we go. We got two bridges. If you got to go to the south side, you're going to be screwed no matter how you do it, so you might as well make it interesting. Smithfield Street versus Hot Metal Bridge. I learned a couple of interesting factoids about Smithfield Street. Apparently, it's a testicular bridge, and it was designed by Lenny Riefenstahl, apparently. And the Hot Metal Bridge happens to be 100% constructed of hot metal. In fact, it was so hot you couldn't even drive on it for the first 20 years of its life. But luckily, when I got here in 1992, it was ready to go. Hot metal, south side, do it, pick it, love it, it's yours. Voting is now for you Facebook people. We don't care about anybody else. If you're on YouTube, screw you.
Wow, I tell you what, that was amazing. I'm so glad I sent you research on both those bridges because you obviously embraced it and it soaked in. and it came out. That's awesome. So those two bridges have interesting histories on them. Hot metal. They can. I guess the hot metal bridge can take a blast if things went wrong at the mills and the flaming lava went crazy. That bridge would hold, and the other ones might not. And the other one is the Smithfield Street Bridge, man. Famous. Several New York bridges have been made by the same guy. Get your vote on. And Pete, a tip of the cap to you, sir, for putting up with that graphic and working in some other bridges. And I like what you do on these, Pete Spinda. I do like what you do.
Thanks, buddy.
Good work, my friend. So there's a lot that's been going on. COVID numbers, we're about 43 in Allegheny County today. Since we saw you last, there's been about 400 cases over the last 5 days. The weekend was about 100 a pop, and then it was fluctuating between 70s and 40s since then. Just want to remind everybody before we get into all the other things we're going to talk about, there's no politics involved in masking. I know there is, but like, put your masks on, wear a mask. If you're leaving the house, put on a mask. Bruce Springsteen would tell you the same thing.
Put on a fucking mask.
So that was Bruce. That wasn't me. I don't swear on the show. The boss gets to. But yeah, just put your masks on. I've been saying it every night. Keep washing your hands. Keep social distancing. As you may or may not have noticed, it can happen anywhere, and it will if you tempt fate. So put your masks on. But that aside, like I said, we've got a great show for you tonight. And our first guest, I'm very excited to have on here because I am not qualified to talk about half the stuff I do, but she is. So I'm very excited. This is her second time on the show. Please welcome back State Representative Sara Innamorato.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for being here.
I feel like I just need to show you this photo. It's my grandma's birthday on Friday, and this is her with a mug, a Jag-Off mug, so it's not a bad word. Grandma Tuna loves, she loves her Jag-Off mug. It's cool. Grandmas are talking about it, so, it's good. Yes, happy birthday, Grandma.
Happy birthday, Grandma. I'm very excited. Friday can't come soon enough. For both reasons. But anyway, how's everything going? I know things have been kind of hectic for you lately.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth between Harrisburg and here. So we have 3 more session days. So it's kind of a marathon. So they're going to try to shove through as many bills as possible in our last 3 days there. And, quite frankly, I've been really disappointed in what Harrisburg has delivered to the people here. As state reps, we have our pulse on what's going on in the community, and we know there's still so many unmet needs, whether it's ability to access rental relief or whether it's our main street businesses that are hurting, our independent venues, and a lot of artists were left out of the programs that were designed. So instead of prioritizing that, we're politicizing mask wearing and crowd limits and things like that. So,
stuff that really, really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's driving me crazy. I mean, we're probably preaching to the choir here, but like the fact that the mask wearing thing is still happening, like that we're this long into it, and I could almost understand like the first couple weeks, but that was like 6 months ago now. That I think there's one clear fact, and it's the mask wearing, and it's still I don't think that's going to go away for the next month or two. But the election is coming up. So
yeah,
I know.
I've heard this thing.
I don't know if you knew this, but there's going to be an election happening in November, and the mail-in balloting has got people a lot of questions, a lot of issues have been popping up about it, and I was hoping that maybe you could kind of shed some light on the subject for us.
Absolutely. I've been getting a lot of questions. We've just been doing live Q&A on Instagram, and I've gotten dozens and dozens of questions, and I think the overall theme that I would like to just address is don't panic. There's a lot of, I think, misinformation out there, and there's a lot of people who are like, well, should I put it in the mailbox? Shouldn't I? What if my signature doesn't match my signature that's on file with PennDOT? There's a lot of panicking that's happening, and really there are some areas for concern, but really if you follow the process, you request a mail-in ballot on votespa.com, that's going to get processed through the county. The county's going to mail you out your ballot. You're going to receive it. Mine's sitting on the mantle right now. I need to send it back. Fill it. Don't be like me. Don't put it on the mantle. Fill it out right away. Talk to your friends if you have questions about a ballot initiative that's on there. If you live in the city of Pittsburgh, decide who you're voting for, and then figure out how you're going to return it. If right now it's early enough to put it in the mail, if that's what you want to do, or you can go to Allegheny County or AlleghenyVotes.com, and they'll have drop-off locations. You can also take it down to the Board of Elections downtown if you feel more comfortable dropping it off. You do have to be the person who drops it off, though. You can't go pick up your neighbor's ballot and drop it off for them. Do not do that. Can't do it. Drop off your own ballot. If you do decide for some reason, if you want to go, if you've requested your mail-in ballot, you're like, no, I'm going to go in person. If you really want to do that, make sure you take that entire package that came in the mail. So outer envelope, secrecy envelope, ballot, take that whole package. You have to take it to your polling place with you. And what they'll do is they'll destroy it. They'll spoil it. And you're able to then go and vote on the machine. But, you have to come with your ballot. If you requested a mail-in ballot and you don't take it to your polling place, then you can only vote provisionally, which means that your vote is counted just later, and it's kind of more of a pain in the butt.
Right. Now, I mean, that's going to come up because I'm kind of on ground zero on that. I've been not sure what I should do. I got my mail-in ballot. Now, in the primary, I applied for the mail-in ballot. I thought it was just for the primary, right? Mm-hmm. So I never received the mail-in ballot. My wife got hers. I called the office forever. I finally got through. Got in just in the thing, and they're like, okay, we'll mail it out to you right now. It'll get there in time. And I still never got it. Okay. So I went to an alternate polling place because my polling place was closed at that point in time. And I did the provisional ballot thing, which is fine. But I didn't realize till I got an email that I was signed up for the mail-in for the general as well. So they said that would be coming too. So I was like freaking out. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to make it. They're never going to send it to me. So I got the ballot in the mail this time, and this time my wife did not get it yet. But so we're kind of like juggling back and forth. So I was on the fence as to taking it with me to my polling place, having them destroy it and vote in person. But if you're telling me that this is for the good, it's on the up and up, you don't think that there's going to be like a November 3rd surprise where people get swept in and these votes get every mail-in ballot gets contested in the state of Pennsylvania?
No, that doesn't look likely. And, Pennsylvania, this was the first time we did mail-in, or I guess no excuse absentee voting this past primary. So there are going to be some kinks to iron out. I mean, we only gave counties a few months to be able to implement a system and expand on their current system. And there was kind of a pandemic happening. So there was probably there was definitely a lot of stress put on our elections commission at the county level. And Allegheny County performed excellently, as compared to other counties across the Commonwealth. And I think a lot of folks did learn from the way that we organized our ballot counting in the county. So,
question: will the state let me know when that my vote was counted? Came from the audience, from Donna. So
yeah, there on votespa.com you can there's a ballot tracking system. So if you have requested a ballot and it hasn't been received, it will say pending, which means that your ballot, your application has been accepted. It'll give you an update of when it's been mailed out. It'll send you I think a text or a email, and then it will send you a confirmation when it's received. So if you sign up for those alerts, you will be kept abreast of the process and where your ballot is in that system.
Another question that somebody sent to me was they got let's get this one from Tom in the audience. What if you get ballots for people who died? How can you remove your name from the mailing list?
So that's like what's called like a voter. They'll purge the voter rolls, and so they'll do that intermittently when folks are deceased, or like someone was contacting me in Florida. They were like, I'm getting like the state of Pennsylvania is contacting me, but I'm registered to vote in Florida. And I was like, it's okay. You just haven't been purged from the voter rolls. Like, you're fine. Just don't vote in both places, because we have, every state has their own system and how they manage voters. There's not a federal level system. So, sometimes there's just delays and everyone conducts it differently. So, it's not the most efficient system, but, it's the system that we have. But yeah, they'll get purged if someone has passed away.
Right.
Don't send a dead person's ballot in.
Right.
Don't commit voter fraud. That's also, don't panic. Don't commit voter fraud.
And that's on you if you do.
Yeah.
What was the other thing was the email system. Somebody said that they had put in their mail-in ballot, and it had gotten received. They tracked it, and everything was cool. And then a couple of days later, they got an email that said that their mail-in ballot was getting mailed and it was on the way to their house. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just a glitch in the system, right? That people shouldn't freak out about that. They're not gonna get
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. Like, if you are concerned, there's you can contact the county board of elections. You can also we get a lot of calls to the state representative's office for, sometimes it is it's just an issue with that voter record. It actually happens a lot when women get married and they get hyphenated last names. There's some glitches in reconciling. Maybe they registered under their maiden name and now they have this new hyphenated name. So there just might, because of the way that the system tries to reconcile itself, there just might be individual glitches, and we just have to just work through that particular case and make sure that folks can vote.
Gotcha. We got a question here. How likely do you think new legislation will be in the future for all mail-in ballot systems like Oregon and California or Washington conduct their elections?
Well, it's really fascinating because we made these changes in 2019, and it was actually a Republican-led bill that enabled the expansion of no excuse absentee voting, mail-in voting. And but now it seems to be the majority party in Harrisburg, which is the Republicans, that are trying to roll it back. So we'll see. It was something that came to fruition through bipartisan efforts, and that's what voting should be. The enfranchisement of every citizen should be a priority for any lawmaker, so that folks can really have their voices heard and that democracy can live on another day. So it's just going to take the political will to do it. I have an automatic voter registration bill that has not been considered at all by our state committee, but West Virginia has automatic voter registration. So you go to PennDOT, instead of opting in, they automatically register you. If you apply for a fishing license, they automatically register you. If you apply for SNAP, you're automatically registered to vote, and it updates your voting record. So if you've moved places, it's actually a really efficient way to use our technology. So there are a lot of reforms that could still happen, and I hope after this election that we do actually implement some of them.
All right, I agree. Another question: are you familiar with any PA efforts for ranked choice voting or instant runoff or other voting systems?
Oh, that would be ranked choice voting is very cool and a super kind of nerdy policy thing that I'm very into. I think ranked choice voting is really cool. They do it in other countries in Europe. Maine is the first state to implement it. And there are a couple of cities and counties around the United States that do it. And pretty much what it says is that, no one wins unless they get the majority. And the way you do it, if there's 3 people running, you rank your choices. So, and then your first choice gets the amount of votes. And if that doesn't put them over 50%, then they eliminate the person who got the least votes. And then they say, okay, who was your second choice? Okay, and those get that person's votes. And this can do a number of things, right? It can it can open it up for more than a 2-party system, which I think is healthy for a democracy. It can make people actually work together a little bit more who are running, candidates who are running against one another. Because if I'm not going to be your first vote, I want to be your second. And so I'm probably not going to shit on the person who is your first choice, right? We're going to try to maybe want to work together and
civility,
show differences, between one another. Yeah, so I think it's a way to kind of architect civility and expand democracy.
That changed the face of a primary. You know,
yeah, it would. It would give, I think, more opportunities for folks to run. And I think if we deploy things like ranked choice voting and limitations on corporate donations, corporate PAC donations, and have things like gift bans, we don't need to deploy things like term limits, right? Because like if a community wants to keep electing someone because they think that they're a great representative, that should be up to the community to decide that. But the barriers are so high for new people to run for office. I mean, I know. And so if we lower those barriers and we increase people's ability to participate in the process, and also not only from a voting perspective, but also from I'm going to run for office perspective, then you have such an opportunity to get new voices when you need new voices.
That's good. So as far as the ballots going in goes, I'm sure there's tutorials online, but there's the secrecy envelope. There's like extra steps, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a regular ballot, a secrecy envelope, and then the mail envelope, and PA picks up the tab, right? So it's so the postage is already covered. So you just take that to the post office and go from there. Do you have to fill out the ballot with like a number 2 pencil, or is it
blue or black ink only?
Okay.
So see, like I love pens. Do not use any of these pens to fill out your ballot. This is not good. Bad. X that out. Do not use those pens. Blue or black ink only. Do not use a pencil. It must, because of a court ruling, you do have to put it in a secrecy envelope that's included in your ballot package, or else it will not be counted. You do have to sign the outside. It is the date, not your birth date. It is the actual date that you are signing it. As far as I know now, for some reason, if you do, what I've been told from the County Board of Elections, this happened to my aunt. She wrote her birthday instead of the date, and we got her a new ballot. She's already received it. She's, the other one's invalid now, and so she's going to fill that out. But as far as we know, you need to request a new ballot package, and you can do that. And if you need help, you can always call your state representative, and they will help you do that.
All right, awesome. So I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a little bit more knowledgeable. I think I'm okay. I can breathe a little bit easier. I'm gonna fill out my ballot. I know I got to use a pen, secrecy envelope, no naked ballots.
Yeah.
So other things. So we talked about it earlier about like the politicization of mask wearing and stuff. So you had to go through a little something about people not wearing masks that should have been that politicized it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, when we're on the House floor, there are 203 House members, and a lot have been going up to Harrisburg because you can vote remotely. It's a temporary role that we have, but in order to debate a topic and submit amendments, you have to physically be present there. And, we have kind of a House rule that says everyone wears masks, but if you look around, on one side of the House floor, there are very few people wearing masks. And, to me, it's just a sign of respect. Like because my mask is to protect you, it's not necessarily to protect myself. And we actually had one of our members test positive that I had a committee meeting with. So I got contact traced. Fortunately, because we were sitting within 6 feet of one another for about 45 minutes during a health committee meeting. And then we spoke afterwards, actually about medical marijuana. It's great. And fortunately, he was wearing a mask, and but I did get contact traced, and had to go in for a COVID test, and it's negative, which is great. So and I don't have any symptoms or anything, so it's good. I'm still staying at home, but I'm so grateful for my colleague who decided to wear a mask. I hope that he gets well soon. But yeah, that's the difference between mask and no mask. Could have been a lot more people infected in the House, in the House of Representatives in Pennsylvania.
Wow. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But let's talk about that conversation about legalization of marijuana.
Marijuana.
Medical marijuana. No, I was gonna say, you think it's gonna happen?
No,
there's a pivot for you that we weren't expected to talk about tonight. But yeah, medical marijuana. Okay. I'm just gonna scroll through here. Did we answer that? Yeah, I think we did. People will be notified that their vote is counted. Well, Sara, thank you so much. Thanks for everything that you're doing. It's great talking to you. Thank you for clearing up the air for us on this and everything. We'd love to have you back on the show, especially in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure there's going to be lots more to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to try.
Comment. Tell me, throw out suggestions on topics that you want to talk about.
Okay.
Because state politics is sometimes a little bit of a mystery to folks.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, it's just, yeah. But now, hopefully, everyone will be wearing masks from now on. And we'll go from there.
We'll see. Let's hope.
Right. Well, Sara, thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy. And happy birthday to your grandma coming up on Friday. And, she could be my favorite jag-off for Friday.
My favorite jag-off.
It's awesome. Well, thank you very much. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sara. Yeah, great. Sarah's fantastic. So check her out. You can see on her website and all that stuff, and her contact information we've got in the chat. So that's good. I feel better about voting. Hopefully, you guys too with the mail-in thing. I think I'm going to go with the mail-in. I think I'm going to get crazy. I think I'm going to try it out. Let's see what happens. Before we move on, I want to say a little bit about a sponsor of ours, Red Start Roasters. If you go to redstartroasters.com and use the coupon code TOGETHERPGH, you'll receive 10% off your order. Red Start Roasters, the only bird-friendly coffee roaster in Western Pennsylvania right here. So bird-friendly, they sell it at the aviary. They're doing free shipping during the pandemic. So be sure to try that out. Red Start Roasters, togetherpgh.com. TogetherPGH is the coupon code for 10% off, free shipping. And they have a brick and mortar place in the East End. So check out Red Start Roasters. So our next guest, I have been chomping at the bit to talk to somebody that knows something about what this gentleman knows about. He's from the NHL. This is Phill Cresswell, and he's going to shed some light on some of the ways that the NHL pulled off a COVID-free playoffs and finals.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
Phill, how are you, man?
Good.
Thanks for being here with us.
Of course.
All right. So, sorry to keep you waiting in the wings there. I got into the whole voting talk with Sara there. But
I have my ballot right here.
Okay.
So I'm excited to cast it.
All right, well, fill that bad boy out. I think I'm gonna do that tonight. I was waiting. I was thinking about taking it to the voting place and having them destroy it and voting in person. But now I feel like I might just get this off my chest and stop worrying about it every day. So anyway, NHL, COVID hits. No one expected any sports to get through it, and the NHL kind of pulls it off with flying colors. Now, maybe tell the audience a little bit about what you do. And then kind of parlay that into some of the protocols that you had to go through.
Yeah, so I basically manage technical operations for the NHL, and what that means is supporting all of our technology that's involved to make sure a game can be played and officiated, and as well as broadcast online and on TV. So it's everything from our stats system to broadcast technology, as well as things that coaches and teams use in game, like iPads and our replay system. So it was a crazy period for everyone. And I happened to be actually in Edmonton at the beginning of March when we got the call that we were postponing our season, and immediately headed home. I think I worked a game on, I want to say it was the 10th or 11th of March, and headed back home to be sitting at home until July 19th, where I actually headed back to Edmonton, which was one of the two cities, Edmonton and Toronto, were our two cities picked as hubs to play out a tournament to get into the playoffs, and then have the playoffs start immediately after that. And that was all deemed return to play. So that found me locked inside a bubble in Edmonton, and it was a trip.
So you're in the bubble, okay? So tell us a little bit about the bubble, because everyone's just saying the bubble, and obviously the NHL bubble is obviously different from the NFL bubble, and it's kind of showing right now.
Yeah, so I think the few sports that had specific, secure operations were us. The NBA, I believe MLS had a tournament that was also in Orlando, like the NBA is, and where we were actually able to securely lock down an area, right? So with the NFL and Major League Baseball, there's security protocols and testing protocols that they have, but they are actually still traveling around and going to various venues. Well, NBA, they set up within Disney World with the connection with Disney owning ABC, which is, I think, ABC and TNT are their big broadcasters. Well, we decided to go to Canada. We had slowly narrowed it down to a group of cities, some in the U.S. and some in Canada, to try to create this safe zone. And towards the end of the decision-making process, numbers in the U.S. started to spike. So we settled on Edmonton and Toronto, Edmonton being one of the safest states and provinces in North America. And what it looked like was really a city block, a little bit more larger than a city block that had been fenced off, I was in a hotel about a block away from the arena with fencing and security between me and the hotel, or between the hotel and the arena. So every day we would wake up, use an app. If you are familiar with Clear and any airport travel you've been done, it's a program that kind of gives you a fast pass for going through TSA TSA security. They developed a contact tracing application, and we use that just for temperature testing to make sure that we don't have any symptoms. And then we headed down the fence line, greeted by multiple security, and took a test every day. So during my time there, I took 73 tests, and leading up to it, before I left for Edmonton, everyone had to take 3 tests that came back as negative. So overall, I think the number I saw was the NHL administered over 33,000 tests in both Toronto and Edmonton, and we had 0 positive results. So that's the one thing that we can say we had a perfect experience with no positive tests, and some of the other sports haven't had that.
Did you get used to the test? Did it get any easier as it went along?
So it depended who your test practitioner was, right? So some days you'd get in a lane and they'd use a little more elbow grease on your uvula than the person the day before. So it was every other day. It was a nasal test and then a throat test. So it altered.
Okay. And everybody went through this. The players did this, you did this. You guys were in your own universe. Right?
Yeah, and we had different levels of security. So I was in zone 1 as opposed to we had people up to zone 5 depending on what your role was there. So if you're anyone from the commissioner to a star on a team to someone in my group or someone working at one of the hotels, you were getting tested.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing, but I feel like that's the reason that you got through it. And now, were there any other like cleaning processes on your equipment? Did you guys have to were people sterilizing everything on every day, or was this like once you guys were in the bubble, it was kind of like we can kind of ease up on that?
No, it was, so early on, especially during setup in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, when we had often 3 games a day, we had, we had to wear masks all the time. And those were 16, 17-hour days early on. So we're wearing our masks pretty much at all times unless you're eating or drinking. And as far as cleaning stuff, we have a lot of equipment so on a 3-game day, that meant we had 6 teams rotating through. So we had professional cleaning staff that cleaned benches every intermission between games, cleaned locker rooms. We cleaned our equipment that the teams use, as well as equipment that the referees and linesmen use as well.
Wow. All right. Okay. So you're in the bubble. Okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody's getting clean. There's sterilization, all that stuff. You're there for months. I mean, it's a very long period of time.
Yep.
What did you do for fun?
So for fun, luckily a few weeks in, they set up a lounge for us. So we played some ping pong, played some cards.
So you were essentially, in the dorms. You were in a dormitory.
It was kind of like a dorm life, right? A lot of people drank, drank beers every night. I tried
beer
to
pong.
Limit that. Beer pong, yeah. Beer pong, flip cup,
Yeah, right.
There were a few golf outings for those that like golfing. There was actually some golf simulators on site there for the teams to use as well as staff.
I was watching the NBA Finals yesterday, and they were talking about like the amount of food that gets shipped into the bubble, right?
Yeah.
So what did you guys do for food? Was there like a cafeteria, or was there what else was?
So the multiple restaurants inside the bubble, there were a few in the arena. Wayne Gretzky has a restaurant there, Stu 299. We had a restaurant in our hotel, as well as one in the JW, or 2 in the JW. So we were able to kind of rotate between those restaurants. But you could also 4 restaurants, yeah.
So you had 4 restaurants. Did you do anything like outside? I mean, you guys are all tech savvy.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you do to pass the time with those things?
Well. So besides the 4 restaurants, we actually had. I utilized Uber Eats a lot. So I think I ordered from 30, 40 different restaurants while I was there, and you could get it delivered. They would basically drop it off of security. They would sanitize all of your to-go bags, and then then you could take it in. So, but as far as other things, I know one of the guys on my team. So this is a piece of work that one of the guys on my team did just for fun. We had a guy build a website and build a bunch of ads that we kind of put on screens around the arena, and this is one voted one of the 4 restaurants in the NHL hub. So it doesn't really give you a ringing endorsement, but
what is this here?
So this one was we tried to kind of do some photoshops and pranks on some guys in the Toronto hub. So these were our colleagues that we tried to clown a little bit over there.
I mean, you're away from your families. You're locked and loaded here. So I guess, all right, you have some fun. You're tech savvy. Your Photoshop skills are on point. All right. Do we got any more, Dave? Or oh well, here we go. That's that. This is.
These are again more guys from the Toronto side that we tried to clown a little bit.
That's good.
One of the guys that works for me, who was actually, so we kind of. Kevin, who's up in the top right corner there of the shot, he's my counterpart who was in Toronto. One of my guys, Jesse, was over there, and he has a white tarp behind him for all Zoom meetings, and no one's ever brought it up until the day we left for the bubble. And I was like, you kind of have a Dexter thing going on, Jesse, with that tarp. And so Jason put that in there. Nice.
All right. So there was something else I wanted to ask you. A question from the booth there. Who won the NHL Stanley Flip Cup?
Yeah, so there wasn't actually any Flip Cup that I saw. Now I'm sure some of the teams. So we had 12 teams there. I'm sure they were playing all kinds of.
But you stayed separate from the teams too,
yeah,
right?
We were
in a bubble in a hub.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had player access with our zone. We were in the same zone as players, but we were in a totally different hotel as them. So it was interesting though, being in what we called the yard, where it had some basketball hoops and picnic tables. Seeing players from 12 different teams hanging out, and it was kind of an eerie experience you wouldn't see in any other time.
Yeah, but you guys, I mean, it was a success. So however long it went, wow, you guys really went off on this stuff. You guys really had some time on your hands. This was like some solitary confinement stuff over here.
Well, Jason wasn't getting much sleep. He was up till like 6 a.m. working on these things just for shits and giggles.
Well, you got to do something to keep your mind right. All right, so you finished that up. You mentioned something in the pre-show. You're the first guest that has a Stanley Cup ring.
Yeah.
All right. So we're very excited to have you on here. We're trying to amass as many award winners as we can, and we did not think we were going to have anyone that had won the Stanley Cup. It was elusive. All right. So now you count as someone who has a Stanley Cup ring. You did not raise a cup, but you have some hardware. Yeah,
I got it so for the first 6 years I've been with the NHL. This will be this next season will be my 13th season. I worked in Pittsburgh exclusively, so I happened to work in 2008, 2009 when the Penguins won the Cup. So I was able to receive a ring, and yeah, it's nothing I wear ever, but it's a little nice token to remember that season.
You wear it. You wear it. There's times you put that thing on. You walk by the mirror. You pull the whole. You have conversations with yourself in the mirror, talking with your hands thing. It's a whole. I know you don't have to lie. It's just us and the entire internet.
I was wearing
it's a pinky ring. That's basically how I was like miming like Joe Pesci trying to try on pinky rings for 20 minutes.
I was wearing it once at Gooski's during a somewhat infamous meeting with Russell Crowe that maybe we can chat about some other time.
We've talked about Russell Crowe chats at Gooski's here on the show. Okay. We've been at this for 100 episodes almost. We're at like 97 episodes. We've talked about everything that's ever happened in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Anything that's happened in Pittsburgh for the last like 25 years, we've got it covered here. The Russell Crowe thing did come up. So we could talk about that another time. That can be on the outtakes. We'll have you back to talk about that. But before we let you go, I hear you're into the mushrooms.
Yeah, so I got back last Friday and took a couple days to acclimate, and the last few days I've been out hunting mushrooms and in my neighborhood as well as out at some county parks. So
where do you have better luck, your neighborhood or the parks?
I had pretty much the same luck in both. I live in East Liberty, so right next to Highland Park. So I went actually to Highland Park, the park itself yesterday, and then today I was out at Deer Lakes Park and found quite a bit of honey mushrooms. And I found that chicken of the woods at some sort of stage. I'm thinking that was post-pick regrowth or something. I found some black trumpets and some honey mushrooms. So I'm going to make some honey mushroom stroganoff with it.
Oh, wow. You're taking it there. The honey mushroom stroganoff. Okay. Fresh from the tree.
Yeah.
All right, oh wow, there it is, right there. I those things grow at my house.
Yeah,
those are honey mushrooms.
Honey mushrooms, yeah.
That's what they call those.
They grow. They grow in bunches all over. Trees.
I get tons of those.
Yeah.
At my house on any given time, by yay big.
Oh wow.
Yeah, don't have any right now currently.
I identify them and cook them up.
That's what I need to do. The problem is I think I'm going to get killed from the mushroom, or I'm going to start tripping or something. I need someone with an eye on it. You see, I told you that I showed you the picture before, that the chicken of the woods, hen of the woods.
Hen of the woods. It was hen of the woods.
Yeah. They literally grew out of a crack in the foundation of my house. It was yay big. Dave, do you have that picture? Probably not.
Hen of the woods. Someone's asking about sheephead, and hen of the woods is also called a sheep's head.
Well, see that? This is what I'm talking. You are a wealth of information, sir. You know what? Erin Hart is going to be coming on the show here in a minute. I know you've got your stroganoff to make, but you want to hang out because she might want to talk with
sure.
about some mushroom talk with you too. Hey, Dave, Pete, Dave. Oh, there's that grew out of the side of my house. I was out of town for 2 weeks, came back, it was there. Should we bring in Erin, or did you want to ask Phill a couple of things?
I have a question for Phill. Phill, fellow wheeler
Judy.
here. How many wheelers do you have?
I think I have 3 or 4 wheelers proper.
Did you wear them a lot in Canada when you were up there?
I did. I had a lot of flannel, a lot of denim. Good combos.
But let
Did
me
they
ask
give
you a
you-
question. This is going to go off on your question, Pete. Did you put that flannel on when you saw what Phill was wearing?
Well, I had to.
Was that on in pre-show? I don't remember. But
I don't think he was wearing anything in pre-show.
That's been known to happen too, but not me generally.
But anyway, go on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't mess with the flow, but it just so happened that I should
I was just
get
asking.
like a flannel right now.
I was just asking about his flannel. I had the questions about denim and flannel since he was in Canada. So
This is actually the second wheeler I've worn today. I wore a thinner one out in the woods while I was foraging earlier.
It was hot out today. It was in the 70s.
Yeah, it was a little cooler under the canopy.
more like a summer wheeler you had on.
Yeah.
Different, varying,
Like a
varying
thin gauge wheeler. Yeah.
thin gauge wheeler. So I was thinking we bring Erin in and talk a little bit of mushrooms a little bit with Phill. What do you think about that, Pete?
I'm into it. Phill, you into it?
Yeah.
All right, well, here comes our next segment, our favorite segment on Wednesdays. From Farm to Table, PA, we buy fresh, we buy local, we keep it real and keep it local. Erin Hart is here to chat with us a little bit. Hey, Erin.
Hey guys, how are you?
What's going
Hey.
on? It's nice to see you.
Good to see you guys too. Phill
So-
knows a lot more about mushrooms than I do. Let's
I don't know
say
about that.
right off the
I'm
start.
still an amateur.
I'm not even an amateur.
This is great, but what you have is expertise in other areas of the
I know
things that
people
grow.
who know how to grow mushrooms. So
Boom.
I
Boom.
have some facts like Pennsylvania is the #1 mushroom producer in the country.
Oh,
Is that
So,
Is that
so we
a-
grow more mushrooms here, and that's not foraging wild mushrooms, which that would be interesting to find out those stats. There's a Facebook group called Western PA Foragers, and there's over 3,000 members, and I've been in that group for a while. So that would be a group that I would definitely join and I know it says Judy, but if you would be interested in like getting to know like how to forage or like how to go out there and find like mushrooms that that you want to go find yourself, or you can go to someone like Quiet Creek Herb Farm. So I shared a link. PASA is doing a grow your own mushroom class October 23rd and 24th. That's coming up. So it's a like oyster, shiitake, and wine cap mushroom growing class. And
you just like grow them in your basement, or is it like outside growing?
I think they're outside. Well, I know like shiitake mushroom logs, you keep them outside. And I've never even bought one. I've worked with Quiet Creek for 15 years, so I know what they do, and I've had like family members that bought the mushroom log. So what they do is they have a log that they inject the plugs in to grow the shiitake mushrooms. And the people who own Quiet Creek, it's actually a nonprofit. They do a whole talk about the health benefits of shiitake mushrooms and just mushrooms in general. But then they show you like how to grow those. So PASA, which is the Pennsylvania Sustainable Agriculture, they are sponsoring the talk that will be Claire and Rusty Orner from Quiet Creek. And their farm it's a garden up in Jefferson County and near like Cook Forest, probably like 20 minutes from Cook Forest. So you could go to their farm and learn so much, or that this event is going to be, I don't know if it's virtual or if it's
Right.
Is this the event? Erin, what's the name of the event?
I put it in it's grow your own mushrooms at home, inside, outside.
So
I put it in the group chat.
I'm going to add this here, okay? if I'm gonna find a farmer, and I don't know this farmer, if his name is Rusty, I'm gonna believe he's a good farmer.
He's Claire and Rusty Orner. They are the like salt of the earth. I've seen.
So they're not ornery.
No, no, they're not. I am. And I'm one of 5 sisters, and they know us. They're like, oh, hey, Colleen. Hey, Erin. Hey, Mary. Where's Liz? I'm like, how do you know who we are? Like, no one knows who we are. But they know their stuff. They've been running this nonprofit farm that's like an educational center, and they're brilliant. So that's what I would, if I was going to get into this. I mean, Claire and Rusty would be the first people. I Googled this at like after 8 o'clock because I was like, oh my God. I was supposed to get them to come on with me, and I will have them come on with me.
But we'd love to have them.
But so I found this like right away that they were doing this class, and I've known about the Western PA Foragers group. There's another
people in there are pretty competitive, right? Like they don't want to tell you where the mushrooms are. Like they are secretive about where they go.
Oh, true forager, yeah.
Because Pete takes them all. Pete will take all the mushrooms. If he finds out where they are, he doesn't leave any for the rest of the village. He takes them all.
It's not me, it's my wife. I'm blaming my wife.
Oh my God! Throw Aneshka under the bus. My goodness, that's you just turned dog on your wife. But you got red flannel. You can't lie in red flannel. Come on, man, that Wheeler. Come on, oh man, look at that, Pete.
Bastard.
Those gold tips. Oh man, but so yeah, so apparently Pete likes to steal the patches.
Dave gave me a tip. He didn't want to go. He didn't trust them. I went and got them. And
I shouldn't have rattled off where I was at today. That's a big
I'm
mistake.
going there.
Oh, he's gonna go, but the thing is, you already were there, man.
Yeah,
you got
true.
in and out. You had the right thing. There was the perfect temperature up until today when it got a little warmer. It was like mushroom time.
Yeah.
Well, it's still too cold. I was afraid it was going to get too cold for mushrooms.
It was just on the right tip, and then I don't know what's going to happen now.
Yeah, I have a camp I'm going to go to.
Is that your stomach there, Pete, or is that a dog? Whose dog is that?
That's my dog.
Okay, I was like, all right.
You're going to your camp, Phil? Is that what you said?
Yeah, there's some sheep's head that grows up there. So
what's the address of your camp?
All right. So anyway, enough. Erin, we just started having tomfoolery here and some shenanigans.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
Is there, all right? So we've got the mushroom stuff. So before we move on, is there anything else that we should know about stuff that's going on this weekend?
Yes. You might notice behind me, I have these beautiful fall decorations.
This is what I wanted to talk about.
So I'm encouraging people. I did a quick Google search, and the average American spends $61 a year on holiday decor. So there's 1.2 million people in Allegheny County. If we all bought local, like these are from a local farm, moms and pumpkins, and I have other stuff downstairs. I did spend more than $61.
I could.
That would be $73 million into if just everybody in Allegheny County just bought from a local farm instead of sending our money to like the shareholders of Home Depot or Lowe's or Aldi's or whoever. You would be keeping that money in Pennsylvania. So this is something that I recommend. And also they have like the most interesting decorations. Like this is a white pumpkin. This is a mom. It doesn't really translate with my attic lighting at 9 p.m. But
it looks festive. I'm ready for somebody to jump out and say boo or like happy Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It parlays over. I mean, I'm feeling in the mood right now. I'm feeling like I need to go pick up my pumpkin game.
Yeah. So just shop. If you go to the East End Food Co-op, so you can go to a farm store, you can go to a farmer's market, or if you go to a retailer that actually sells local products, like the East End Food Co-op, if they're going to sell, holiday decor, for example, it'll be local. So it's just like an easy way. Some people don't want to like change what they eat. This is like another way to support the local farms.
I love that. That's fantastic. Didn't think about that. You were just a wealth of information and statistics tonight that has blown my mind. But I've got to pick your brain about something here, and Phill, you as well. Which bridge are you going to take? Is it the Hot Metal Bridge or the Smithfield Street Bridge for tonight's in-show poll?
Wow.
Choose one, but
I
choose
would
wisely.
choose.
Hot Metal or Smithfield Street?
I lived in Mount Washington and I work downtown, so I have to choose Smithfield Street. I've been on that bridge a lot.
I'm going to choose that bridge because it's my favorite bridge in
But
Pittsburgh.
I love the Hot Metal Street Bridge.
You got
Hot metal.
I used to
hot metal every
rollerblade
day.
across it.
Phil's
Back
Hot
in the
Metal
day.
all day.
Yeah.
Phil's Hot Metal all day. I mean, it can take the blast. It's the only bridge that would survive if it takes the blast. By all the mills, there was a Hot Metal Bridge. By all the mills that could take, if there was a full blowout, you could still have access up and across. It's like ready. It's like military grade awesomeness, that bridge. It's just amazing. So it's fantastic. Smithfield Street's, I love the way it looks. I love the architecture on it. I love the little lights. I'm a big fan of that bridge. It's the oldest bridge. It's the oldest bridge that's still functioning in Pittsburgh.
I have one more question, not to take a step back, but I'm going to take a step back. So are pumpkin patches and like farms that do like apple picking and stuff still open this year due to COVID? So I can still go because I usually take my daughter every year, but
I just bought tickets to one, or Eileen, my wife bought tickets to one. It's like a timed thing. That
Triple
they were
B,
doing. Yeah.
Sorgels, Chanel's, Janoski's. They're all, every single, I mean, farmers are very industrious and they're really smart. So they deal with, they deal with weather issues. They deal with all these like huge problems all the time. So, especially the ones around here that are like family-owned farms that just kind of adapted as fast as possible. So yes, they're all doing something this year.
awesome.
For sure.
I'm glad to know they're still open.
Yes.
Take my daughter.
Yeah. And a lot of them are like being very safe with masks and everything like that.
All right, awesome. I'm a fan. Well, Erin, thank you so much. Phill, thanks for sticking around for some extra mushroom talk. I know you've got some stroganoff to make with your forage from today. And Erin, will you be back next week?
Yes.
Awesome. Erin will be back next week on Wednesday to talk a little bit more about some stuff. Maybe bring some guests with you this next time.
Yeah, I'll bring some more mushrooms.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Phill. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Erin,
Phil's got to come back
again.
and show us the ring.
Phill,
People
you got
wanna
to
see
come
the
back.
ring.
Phil, you have to come back and show us the ring, and you have to tell us the Russell Crowe story.
I'll figure out a G-rated version of it.
I don't want
no,
it
it doesn't
G-rated.
need to be G-rated.
We
It
go,
doesn't
we
need
go,
to be
we
G-rated.
go, we go all out here. This is what this is. Come back. That's us right there going for it. So thank you guys so much.
Maybe we'll bring Phil back when we have Timmy in the poll. Don't we have
Great.
Timmy coming back in the poll?
Yes, Timmy's up probably next week. He'll be back in the poll. He's got a showdown against Michael Keaton coming up.
Phil's like, I don't have time for this shit.
All right, sorry, Phill. Thank you so much. Get to it. Thank you so much for taking some time out, Erin. Thank you as well.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Good to see you guys.
Great. So wrapping things up here, I want to remind everybody that we've got a series of great shows lined up for you. Tomorrow night, we've got Chris Dose. This is the sequel to Chris Dose being on the show. He had to run last time. We ran short on time, but he's coming back to finish what we were talking about. He's going to play some songs. Very excited about that. Obviously, Kate Romaine's going to be talking to us tomorrow about what Kate ate. Natalie Besavenga, Dave Brashier coming back on Friday. We've got other fantastic guests coming up. We just don't know if they're coming on Thursday or Friday. So check that out, and we hopefully will get a little tour of the Square Cafe. But so here's something. Pete's probably sweating his ass off.
So hot. It's so
Okay,
damn hot.
we got to wrap things up for tonight, but we got to say what the overnight poll is. Dave, it's a
Wait,
doozy.
before we get to there, we have to close the current in show.
Oh, okay, fine. It looks like you put Jeff Bridges in the poll.
I had to.
It beat the Hot Metal Bridge. Okay, Smithfield Street. Dave, take it from here.
He's going to be like,
Oh, sorry, I was watching the debates.
Okay, Smithfield Street Bridge wins. Dave, tell us about the overnight poll.
You ready for this?
I thought Patrick just had to pee, but I guess it's because of the debates he wants to get
No,
there.
You got to pee?
Dave, come on, let's get it going.
Let's wrap
here.
this dang show
Please.
up. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Overnight, we are working our way up some sort of strange divine mechanism that only lives in Patrick Jordan's brain. It's like we're following our waves. We're synapses firing. The brain of Patrick Jordan going deep near the cortex, bumping into things that are a little bit weird, and we think, you know what? Maybe that room is better left shut. Let's keep that one closed. Don't let your kids in that room. But our overnight tonight is a doozy. It is. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Seaback versus Fat Man D. I present to you. I defy you to choose between these two. At this point, there's nothing I can say that can properly put into perspective the carnage when you put Fat Man D against Rick Seaback head to head, toe to toe in a showdown that should never have happened. Damn you, Patrick Jordan!
All right, folks, you saw it here. Rick Seaback versus Fat Man D. Get the voting. It is live right now. We are back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Wear your masks. Wash your hands. And don't forget what Sally Wiggins says.
You're muted, Dave.
Wiggins.
All right, good.
I hope you vote
We'll
and
see you
watch
tomorrow.
the debate tonight.
We haven't
It's
figured it
gonna
out
be
as much.
great.
All right. Thank you all.
When I walk out and there's someone without a mask and they come too close to me, I'm just racked with fear, and then I want to punch them in the face.
That's right. That's Sally. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good one.
Black Lives Matter. Phil, show us the ring.